Hello YouTube and welcome to the behind the scenes video of a music video I shot called Deliver Me. And if you haven't seen it yet, well, you can do so by clicking just here. This video is going to make a lot more sense if you watch this one first. And if you're wondering where it is I'm filming this, well, this is my new home. Needs a little bit more work. The reason I'm filming this video here is because this flat is actually on the same estate where we filmed the music video in my old flat. I've moved basically across the road. Long story, I'm not going to go into it now. So, part one, idea genesis. In March of this year, just after we released Ringo, my short film, I moved into a new Guardian flat in London. And as soon as I moved in, I was like, yeah, we have to film something here. So I started asking around friends and musicians who had music that I had access to see if I could make a video for them, and ended up with a track called Deliver Me by a guy called Cauthen. And the interesting thing here is if you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I went across America and met a band in Texas called Sons of Fathers, and Paul was one of the frontmen for that band who I'd stayed in touch with. So once I'd found Deliver Me, the track, and I had the green light to go ahead with it, I had about 2.5 weeks to get the music video together. And that brings us on to part two, the story. So after listening to the track about 10 times, I eventually came to the storyline of creating a love triangle between a woman, her husband, and her lover. So once I had the story, we then lead into part three, pre-production. First things first, what I did was, because I knew I was going to cast a female lead in it, actress that came to mind was an actress called Goulding, who I wanted to come on board to help develop the idea, and really if she was living the role and the sort of the voice of the lyrics, then I wanted her to really bring her own ideas to the table and develop the story with me. The other two actors that I cast in it was an actor called Lima, who played the lover, and a guy called Weinman, who played the husband. The next stage of pre-production was one of my favourites, which was location recceing. So I grabbed my camera, walked around the estate and the two flats, my flat and Rob, who lived next door, where we shot all the scenes, and really kind of bring the idea to life and pick out those perfect places to film to really tell that story visually with the environment. Because really for me the location is the star of the show. It really did have a realness to it. Marks on the walls are real marks. The smoke stain in the corners of the room is real smoke. The carpet is like it's been worn away. The grime, the grit, the faded paint. Those little details, that's what gets me really excited. The next stage was scripting, which was a little bit different to a traditional script. There was no dialogue, obviously, because it was a music video, so the script itself was actually more like shot points. That way I could tell the story in line with the chorus, verse, just to make sure the whole song was fully structured, almost line by line, shot by shot. Once I had all the narrative plot points and beats going through the whole song, I was then able to storyboard. What I did was I made sure I mapped out every shot precisely, which helped with the schedule, as well as helped know precisely how I was going to show the story visually, because obviously there's no dialogue. Here you can see this is the close-up as she's laying in bed, and the flower comes over, he reaches over. Here's the shot where Gary sort of leans around and kisses her on the cheek. Here's the spiral staircase shot as Vicky travels down the stairs. One of the final decisions was deciding which camera to shoot this music video on. Me and Edgar, the DP, decided to shoot it on my Sony FS7. Great camera, super lightweight, very ergonomic, it's like a pre-built shoulder rig in it, so it's very easy to use. We shot 100 frames or 50 frames per second in 1080. So with one day left in pre-production, I had a rehearsal with the three actors to go through all the script and you know, the story and the characters and the plot beats. We then moved into the one day of production. The day of filming itself went extremely smoothly, no hiccups, no major disasters. It was all to do with the scheduling. And then we do the profile, and then we're going to do all the close-ups, close-up, and then the master close-up. One of the funnest side of things of shooting a music video is you don't run audio. Usually audio can slow you up because when you're filming in London there's sirens, traffic noise, planes, and actually what we did was play a lot of music while we were filming, especially for the actors during the more sensual and sexual scenes, which sort of just helped get people in the mood a little bit more for those more intimate scenes. For me, the directing approach to this video is actually to make sure that the actors believed in the characters and the story. And from the performances, what I didn't want to do is get them bogged down in, you know, having a lot of dialogue between themselves, because you wouldn't actually hear what they were saying. And also, I didn't want to stress the actors out by having to keep improvising scenes over and over again, like arguments or talks or discussions. So what we did was we had a technique called "there's you, there's me in the space," which that one line you'd get the actors to repeat during dramatic scenes.
There's me, there's the space.
You! There's me. There's the space.
There's you, there's me, there's the space.
And just through their own performances, you didn't need any real dialogue. You could get that level of emotion that builds, and, like, you know, in arguments and in love scenes. So it meant that, you know, the actors had a lot more freedom to concentrate on their performances and emotions. One really fun element to the shoot was the one stunt shot or money shot where the actor Kyle had to hurl this like Swann porcelain vase against the wall in super slow-mo. That was the only kind of real stunty part of the shoot. Action! Cut there! Money! So we just done the money smash shot. We're just all watching playback now to see if it pulled off. That was it. Whoa! That's fast. Yeah. Really fast. Let's do it one more time, half speed. We had another cool shot where Julie's character was walking across the road on the opposite building, and we're able to film from my balcony across the road. So it gave like a really cool aerial shot perspective, and you could actually see the whole world and environment these characters were living in. The rest of the shoot basically celebrated my style of filmmaking and directing, which is very simple really. I like to have a DP who's the operator. I just have my monitor. We're in a real space, a real environment, a real location, and with the actors in a very intimate setting, so we're able to concentrate far more on performance and telling the story, rather than being bogged down with unnecessary production elements which slow the process down. So we didn't use a lot of lights, we're in real locations, so didn't have much set dressing or anything like that. And that's what I love the most with that kind of filmmaking, is ultimately I feel you tell a much more real and earnest story. Cut. Nice. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Should we go a bit tighter? Okay. The final shot is back to that final position, but like go sharp off the field. Like really like in and out, in and out. A bit of dialogue, and then exit Kyle. Let's see how this looks.
Who's got the last word?
Who do you think has the last word?
I think Kyle.
Ooh, I think you.
We are blacked out the windows because we're shooting daylight, and it's about 7:30 in the evening. This shot here is where the character Vicky has a bit of a breakdown. But it's been a good day so far. Everyone's prattling about like usual, and it's been good fun. So yeah, here's the next two scenes. So that was it. We shot in one day. It went very well, and once we wrapped, I then moved into post-production. I edited the video myself. Everything in the film is slow-mo. We either shot at 50 frames a second or 100 frames a second, which is quite challenging from an editing point of view, because when you shoot in slow-mo, what you have to do is make sure you capture the moment very succinctly in a very short amount of time. So for example, if an actor goes to kiss another actor, you can't start the take from over here because it's going to take about 4 seconds to get there. So you have to be very precise as to what you're actually going to put in the edit, as opposed to real time when you get a lot more room to put a lot more in. One of the hardest things about the edit as well was a lot of amazing shots didn't quite make the cut. It's really hard from an editing point of view, especially if you've directed it as well. But you've got to sacrifice a lot of cool looking shots for the sake of the overall good and the overall narrative of the film itself. So yeah, kind of heartbreaking to lose some of those shots. Once I got my final edit together, I then showed it to about 3 or 4 people to get their opinion of it. Got some pretty unanimous feedback as to some of the shots and sequencing, so I managed to change the edit around a little bit and then picture locked it. I sent it off to the sound designer to do sound design work at the start, and then the grader to colour the film and get it to how it looks, and then put the titles over the top, and that was it. It was done. So anyway guys, that's it. That's behind the scenes. I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry it's been a bit of a ramble. I could talk way longer in these because I absolutely love talking about the filmmaking process and the sort of decisions that go into it, and sort of, you know, what gets me excited about filmmaking and stuff like that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can tweet me at JackVersusLife. You can also follow me on Instagram at Jack versus Life. And there's some links in the description as well where you can check out more of Paul's music. And that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe by clicking here. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace out. One love.